Hi guys, welcome to the latest podcast of YarninBlak. Today I have a really great friend of mine, Jida, coming on. Hi Jida.
Hey, brother AJ.
Cool.
Thanks.
I'll get you to introduce yourself in a second, but I just first would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we're meeting on today. I'm broadcasting here from Boorndawan Willam on the land of the Wurrung people. I want to pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging. I want to extend that to any Aboriginal person that's listening to us as well, and to you too, mate, who thank you for joining us.
Thanks, AJ. It's a pleasure.
Well, so before we start, just let everyone know who you are, where you're from.
Yeah, but first I'd just like to acknowledge that I'm on the meeting on the lands of the Wurrung people. I'm in Lilydale today. Just pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. And take that extend acknowledgement to you, AJ, and myself as an Aboriginal person on the podcast with you today. Yeah, appreciate it.
Cool.
And
so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Jida. I'm a proud Aboriginal fellow from the Nari, Yorta Yorta, and I've got Boorndawan connection as well. I was born in Melbourne, but I spent a lot of my childhood in Boorndawan, New South Wales. So it's just over the border of Swan Hill, on the Murrumbidgee River. Yeah, so I guess I was pretty lucky to spend a lot of my childhood down there in a small country town and growing up with a lot of mob and stuff. So yeah.
So how old were you when you came into Melbourne?
When I came to Melbourne, it was actually, I might have been about 8 or 9. But the good thing about I still had a lot of family back in Balranald, which was good because every school holidays I'd go back and visit like Nan and spend a lot of time with her and a couple of the uncles and aunties that still lived there back then. So I still had that connection.
Yeah.
Back there.
Yeah. So you went to school down here. How much Aboriginal issues were taught at school when you were at school?
Oh, well, I spent a couple of years, I did 2 years of primary school in Balranald, and I don't think there was anything that I remembered being taught back then. I think I was did primary school from year 3 to grade 6 in Melbourne, and I don't recall learning anything about Aboriginal culture as such. And it was probably more prevalent when I started high school. I think we started to learn a bit more about NAIDOC Week and getting elders and people like that from the community, the Boorndawan community, to come in and do certain activities with the school and teachers and stuff. But yeah, it started becoming a bit more prevalent back in the probably high school days.
Yeah. And after high school, what did you study?
So after high school, I didn't go to year 12. School wasn't for me. I just didn't really relate well to school. So I sort of, Dad said, yeah, it's fine if you want to leave school, but you need to work. You need to find a job. Yeah. So I think my first ever job after I left school was mowing lawns.
Okay.
And AJ, I lasted 2 days and I got the sack. So I was no good at doing that.
Okay.
So I thought, no, I better do something. I thought I should go and do some study. So I did a Cert 3. It would have been in business admin. I thought maybe I want to get into that sort of field. So I went to Chisholm and did some of that there. Before being offered a traineeship with the Aboriginal Employment Strategy. And they were in Dandenong at the time, so it was a 2-year traineeship. So I was successful there and learnt a lot. That's probably my stepping stone into the sector of community services.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was quite grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah. And you worked as a youth worker?
I did, yes, yep. So I did youth work after I left the AES. I went to Monash and did youth work down there, and that opened many doors for me because I was sort of I was employed through Mainstream. It was Monash Health at the time, and also part of that position was also to work with the Dandenong District Aborigines Cooperative. So I learned a bit about Aboriginal health work and all those type of things. So yeah, I did youth work for a number of years actually, with my positions with VACA and Nguala. Opened doors in learning about justice and social issues within the community. So yeah, I've been quite lucky to have been exposed at probably such a young age to be working in those type of positions.
Yeah. And you've also been on a couple of boards as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so Yeah, just the one board at Nirma Jambana. So I was started in there probably 5 years ago. I was doing the secretary position and then moved into the chairperson role. Had to go at that for a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was good. A good experience for me. You're the face of the community type thing. Learn a lot about governance and the structures and strategic level stuff. And then more recently, I've sort of stepped off doing some of that stuff and hopped on as a treasurer. So I wanted to learn more about the finances of the organisation, how that sort of comes into play, and sort of where we sit there. And it's an exciting time for Jambana. They're growing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next couple of years with them.
Yeah. So because this gets seen all around the country, people may not know where Jambana actually is. Tell us a little bit about Jambana.
So Jambana is an Aboriginal. It's an ACO, but they're an Aboriginal gathering place in Frankston. And what they do there is they run community programs, lots of events and stuff like that. And it's really great because the census of Aboriginal people, what it told us is that Frankston is growing. It is a massive cohort of Aboriginal people in that area and the Mornington Peninsula. So it's even more important that we have a gathering place and that's seen to the mainstream people, because we really rely on government funding to keep the place going. And we run all sorts of programs, and we've got men's groups, youth groups, and Bubba's groups. We've got a community lunch that happens on a Thursday. Really exciting time for NERM. We're at the moment got a master plan that we're trying to get funding for to have a completely new purpose-built organisation for Jambana, because it's growing. It's an exciting time. I'm really looking forward to continue on the board and help in any way that I can there.
No, that's good. That's good. You've worked in a number of different areas, but one of them has been predominantly been with the community. Why do you love working with community?
It's good question. Community's been my life pretty much, and I've worked in mainstream and it hasn't worked out, and it's probably because mainstream don't get Aboriginal people. And I thought, if you're working in an ACO, you're gonna automatically just feel probably culturally safe. So that's why I've spent a lot of my working career in ACOs, and I love it. I've loved it. All my positions I've worked for, I've really loved and enjoyed, because you're working for community, you're giving back to people that are less fortunate. Yeah.
Now, you would see a lot of young Aboriginal people that are just finding out about their Aboriginality, and they're struggling a little bit. What advice would you give those people who want to know more about culture?
Yeah, that's a good one. I would first look to probably the elders. I reckon connecting with an elder if you know of them. If not, go type in like Aboriginal gathering places, or there's an organisation that help with linking community back to their people and stuff called Link Up Victoria. They're well known out there. It's just about a starting point. Trying to map out a family tree. And it's really starting from the conversations. But I reckon going to the elders in the local community, and it is hard because culture was lost in colonisation, and a lot of people are now starting to identify as being Aboriginal nowadays. It's starting to be more prevalent. I think probably going back to your elders and your local community, and it's not hard to probably type in Google some information and it'll come up.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned elders. How do you define an elder?
Oh, good one. Yes. How do I define an elder? Well, I think it's about the respect of an elder, your skills and attributes, your positions you've held in community. And probably just being a really genuine person. But I guess it's about the roles you've probably held in community. And being a respected person, I reckon. Yeah.
A word that gets thrown around a lot is reconciliation. And what does reconciliation mean to you?
That's a good one.
My questions are pretty good.
Yeah, I love them all. You really got to think, don't you? Look, we've come a long way, like, trying to bridge that gap with our mainstream counterparts. We look at Reconciliation Australia and what they're trying to do, and what's really important is the RAP plans with councils and mainstream organisations. And it's all about walking together, I think. I think it's about walking together and coming on that journey with us. The more, the merrier. Because, we're seeing a lot of the issues, the injustices and the challenges that mob face every day. And we need as many people on our side to tackle government, tackle the white government, to try and change some of these policies that are in place that have been affecting mob for years.
Yeah. What makes a good ally?
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, look, I think what would make a good ally is just listening and understanding, getting to know Aboriginal people in community, going to events. Also, I guess what I was saying before, just walking alongside us. Like nowadays, you're seeing a lot of allies on our side. Like we go to the NAIDOC marches and we're fighting for recognition and all the deaths in custody stuff every year, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think things are changing. But again, the elders that attending these events have had enough because they haven't seen a lot of change happen. It's just a lot of fighting, and they've had enough.
Yeah. If I could give you $1 zillion and a magic wand and said, fix something, whatever you'd like in Aboriginal affairs, where would you start?
Because of the work I do and I've done in community, I was reflecting on this question. I would love to see more Aboriginal rehabs, more hostels for Aboriginal people, because the housing crisis is just crazy at the moment. We're seeing more of our mob, unable to afford housing, and they're becoming homeless, and the stats really speaks for themselves. I think we need more housing, I'd love to see more rehabs, and shelters for Aboriginal people where they can go and feel safe. It's a lot of those things, and probably chucking a lot of money, a lot of our ACCOs for pay rises will be lovely.
Yeah. I actually don't, you can agree with me or not, but I don't think people realise how little people do get paid in Aboriginal health.
Absolutely. It's completely different to mainstream, and I've seen it firsthand in a mainstream organisation I worked for, doing the same job as what another person was doing at another ACCO, and it's completely different. Yeah. Working for an ACCO, you're paid a little bit less to what a mainstream is. So, yeah.
Do you have any role models, and if so, who are your role models?
Yeah, I think I would say my grandmother was definitely one of them. She's Dawn Coombs. She was an Aboriginal lecturer at Deakin University in Geelong. Really looked up to her. She was one that I spent a lot of time with in my childhood. And also, you probably know him, but Kevin Coombs, Uncle Kevin Coombs. So that's my nan's brother. So I was really lucky to have him as an uncle. He was a paraplegic in the Olympic Games. He's done a lot for Aboriginal Australia. In Victoria, he made a big. He had to go overseas to play wheelchair basketball in the Olympics on a British visa, British passport, because before 1967 we weren't classed as citizens and stuff, so he had to go on a bloody British visa. And I remember him telling that story. It's really fresh in my memory. And he had to go and fight for Aboriginal rights and that, and is a big part of why why our hospital systems have Aboriginal liaison officers. So he was a part of that. He was a part of the establishment of Nguala, Gully Amble. He was one of the founding members of that. And he's got like a street name after him in Sydney, Kevin Coombs Avenue. And yeah, like he's done a lot of amazing things. He sat on Koori Court for a number of years as an elder, and we lost him in December last year. So yeah, so we're still going through some of that stuff. But yeah, like him and my grandmother, very big idols of mine, and will be probably for the rest of my life, because that's who I learnt a lot off.
Yeah. Sorry to hear about him, and I do know the emerging leader group that he was part of as well. We had condolences to the family. I know, because it was a big loss.
Beautiful.
Guys, just jumping back for a second, you also are a father and you got your own kids.
Yes, I should have mentioned that at the start, and I didn't.
Yeah, that's all right. Tell us a little bit about your kids and how old they are, what they're up to.
Yeah, so I've been with my partner 11 years this year, and we've got two beautiful kids. I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and both boys, and they're crazy as ever, lots of energy. The 7-year-old's in grade 2 this year, and the 4-year-old's in kinder at the moment. But yeah, but a lot of energy, and you got to have the time to really sit with them and try and teach them what you can. And where I can, I'd like to take them back home on country and meeting family and cousins and all that, because COVID really stopped a lot of that stuff, because my 4-year-old was a COVID baby, and yeah, so he still hasn't been able to meet a lot of his family as yet. So yeah, some of my plans I'd like to do eventually. It's a bit hard when you've got so many families scattered all over Australia.
You notice both the kids are at school now. What sort of Aboriginal issues are being taught to them at school?
Oh, that's a really good one. The primary school that my 7-year-old out is good. Like they do a lot of stuff with the support of the Kesso and stuff. Some of the stuff they've been doing, community Aboriginal gardens and stuff like that. Making sure acknowledgements are said at in their assemblies, and getting students up to make Aboriginal students to get up and do that. And NAIDOC's always massive. They always write into NAIDOC Week and Reconciliation Week as a school, which is what you want to see. My son's kinder are really good too. I had to bring in some Aboriginal artifacts for show and tell last year, and that was really good. So they really want to learn. They want to learn. That's what I feel like. I think times are changing, and it feels like it's legit. It's like it's not a tick the box thing. I'm starting to feel like. And in my area, he's the only Aboriginal kid in the kindergarten. It's a very diverse culture in my area. But at the primary school where my son goes to, there's about 4 Aboriginal students. So it's not a lot.
No.
But it's good to see that they're wanting to learn and wanting to do things, and they're it's a bit like self-determination. So it's good to see. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the moment, you're working in family violence. Is there a bit of a stereotype around Aboriginal men and family violence?
Yeah, look, there probably would be. I just can't think of the top of my head, but I do hear some things every now and again that same as the stereotypes that we hear about all the time about all Aboriginal people are alcoholics and drunks and bludgers and stuff like that. But working in family violence, because I manage a team here, and we're not always seeing Aboriginal men perpetrating family violence. It can also be partners as well. So yeah.
Question: do you work with we're talking about partners as in same-gendered partners as well as
Absolutely. Yep. And that's something that we've got to be really aware of now. And the good thing about now that what VATCHO and other organisations are starting to roll out is the rainbow tick accreditation, and it's really important that organisations are jumping on that, because we need to be aware of those community members as well, and how we go about working with that cohort of people. And it's just also being respectful, I think. And that's going through the rainbow tick accreditation. That's it's not easy, but it's not hard. You have to really show that you're invested, and showing the flags and stuff on your flyers and stuff like that, and they want to see how you're actually doing that. There's a bit of a process to that. So that's what my organisation is going through those steps shortly, which is really good to see, because we also need to be catering for those community members as well.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. I think that sometimes people just think it's a male-female issue, and sometimes think the males are always just the perpetrator.
Yeah.
But family violence can occur from basically anyone within that family.
Anyone's business. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What do you think, where would you like to see changed in Indigenous affairs in the next 5 or 10 years?
I don't know if this would help or not, but I would love to see an Aboriginal Prime Minister, one day. I think that might help the agenda by pushing community Aboriginal affairs in the right direction. I think we're getting there, but there's just not enough Aboriginal people in Parliament to really strengthen that voice. I'm trying to think of this show I've been watching on ABC. It's a good. I can't even think of it. It's about politics and an Aboriginal person trying to fight for to be a prime minister and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't even think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But they got like 4 seasons and stuff. But yeah, absolutely, I'd love to see an Aboriginal prime minister. I don't know if we'll get there in my time or your time, brother, but I think that'll be exciting to see. And it just takes someone in the Senate or government to challenge something, and things can change. And it's another world, that politics.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about leadership then. What makes a good leader?
Oh, what makes a good leader? I think having a voice. I think once you find, like for myself, I've always been shy, a really shy person, even when I was in primary school. From the days where I wouldn't even get up and accept an award. I'd have to get someone else to go up and get the award for me. It just was people around the room said, we want to hear your voice. We want to hear your voice. So sometimes you're just better off going on the spot, and you just grow in confidence. Every time I get on stage, or I'm talking or presenting at a meeting, I still get the nerves, but once you know what you're talking about, you're generally okay. But yeah, I guess listening to other leaders and people that have come before you, elders, and for me, it's been my Uncle Kevin, my grandmother. They've been big aspirations and leaders that I look up to, and I like to model what they've done. So look, there would be many ways to. I don't think there's just one way of defining a leader. I think there's many ways to define.
I think sometimes leaders don't need to be up the front either.
No, absolutely. Yep. It can be often the quiet ones too, the quiet achievers. Yeah. Absolutely.
I know with my own leadership skills, sometimes I try to create platforms for others to have the light shined onto them.
Absolutely. Yep.
The leadership part is for me to create that platform for them.
Yep. And it often doesn't need to be in front of anyone. It could just be themselves,
Yeah. Question, growing up, have you ever experienced racism?
Not so much when I was in my younger days. It was more when I was older. More so probably recently, where it was last year actually. I was wearing an Aboriginal top going home, and it was a hot day, and someone had just drove past me calling racial slurs towards me. More so recently, the referendum, wearing the yes top, copped a lot of racism for that. It's not nice. Yeah, it's not nice.
No. I hear a lot of young people say that they experience a lot of racism, especially around the disclosure of their Aboriginality.
Mm,
That people go, really, you don't look at, or what
yeah.
percentage are you? Do you think people are actually getting to understand that Aboriginal people, we all do come in different sizes, shapes, colours?
Um, yes and no, but I'm still hearing a lot of stories around that. Some of those around that, like, how black are you?
Mm,
You one quarter, you half, what are you? So yeah, I don't think we've come that far. I think there's still a lot of learning to be done, a lot of reconciliation to be done, because we're still hearing it. We're still hearing it. A lot of the fair skin Aboriginal people, it's hard, definitely hard.
yeah. Do you think in our lifetime we'll actually see racism disappear, or do you think it's going to be our kids and our grandkids are still going to be experiencing it?
Yeah, probably the next few more generations to come yet. I just reflect on the referendum and what's that done to us as a nation. I think the racism's just got worse. Absolutely gotten worse, yeah. And it's hard. It's really heartbreaking because we've come so far to get to that journey. Just,
Yeah,
to get to a referendum where we can have a voice in that constitution. Some people might just think, oh, what was that going to do anyways? But it was something. It was
yeah,
some recognition. It was a start. Um, so yeah, that was hard.
yeah. I don't want to go on about too much about the
Mm.
referendum, but how did you feel after the results of the referendum in the first few days?
Yeah, the few days after the vote, it was just gut. It felt like someone had died.
Mm,
Literally, it really did feel like that. Um, it was really a lot of pain. And then, part of me was thinking, well, what did you expect? The country's racist. It's a racist nation that we have. Not everyone is racist, but there is a big cohort there that are. Yeah, I don't know, brother. I hope that the next lot of generations that there is a lot more Aboriginal people fighting in politics, because I think that's where it's coming from. And the media make us out to be evil, awful people.
yeah. It's interesting just hearing sometimes about the difference, how it's recorded on the news about, was there a protest or was there a march?
Yeah,
It's
that's
just like,
right. Yep, yep. And often I hear when there's a big march, only 5,000 people at the march. There's bloody
yeah,
100,000 people at the march. So
yeah.
yeah, the media, yeah, no good,
Or I often
unfortunately.
hear that there was 5,000 people at the march, but 10,000 at the protest.
Yeah, yeah, that's another one. I've heard that too, actually.
Wait a second, they're all there. They're at the same event, but there were
Yeah,
10. So I don't know whether there was 15,000 people and some were marching and some were
yep,
protesting.
absolutely. Oh, if you don't
Yeah.
laugh, you'll cry, I think.
So a couple of quick questions.
Yeah, of
What's
course.
your favorite sport?
Favorite sport. So when I was in my junior years, I played some tennis. I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved tennis, and I wanted to be a tennis player one day. But in my junior years, I made two finals and I lost. And I thought I'm not willing to play another year and lose again. So I just lost motivation. Unfortunately, I should have
Yeah.
kept going, but um, the spark wasn't there. So I pulled the pin on that, and I followed it ever since. I love the Australian Open. I follow it all the time, all the Grand Slams and little tournaments. Another hobby of mine is is AFL. I'm a massive Brisbane Lion fan, so unfortunately we lost the grand final last year, but I love footy. A lot of black fellas do, and it's a good
Yeah.
talking point.
Yeah. So how did the Melbourne Victorian boy get to go for Queensland?
I think a lot of people want to know that question.
Right?
Well, look, I jumped on board when Brisbane were playing in the good eras, the three-peat era. So I was unfortunately I was following Hawthorn. I probably should have stayed at Hawthorn because they come good in later on and won a few flags. But yeah, just jumped on. I love the colours, the beautiful colours, and I sort of like lions and stuff like that. So my dad's a massive North Melbourne supporter, so he was not happy at all that I jumped over to be a Brisbane Lion.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Who's bloody turncoat? But yeah, no, I love it. I've been following Brisbane for about 17, 18 years now, and I'm a gold member, and a cheer squad member, so I'm a part of the cheer squad. So
cool.
I have a few trips to Brisbane every year, following the team. I love it.
Nice. You kids inclined to follow Dad's team?
Yeah, that's a tricky one because their mum is a massive one-eyed Collingwood supporter.
Oh, okay.
I thought I had my 7-year-old a Brisbane Lion, but grand final day he's wearing a Collingwood top. So I'm not sure how do I win that one back. I think they've got to win the premiership to get him back.
Yeah. And how are you going to arrange that this year?
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. It's a hard one.
You better be squatting very well.
Yeah. Buy him all the Brisbane Lion t-shirts and everything. He won't wear them.
Yeah. Hey, I've got two questions for you left. One is what do people don't know about Jida? What's something that people often don't know that you're willing to share?
That's a good one because I feel like I'm a bit of an open book. I think everyone knows Jida. He says, "Oh, Jida, yeah, I know Jida."
Yeah, you don't even have a last name, you know that. It's a bit like AJ and Madonna, Brittany, Jida, and AJ. Yeah,
that's it. Oh, look, I don't know, AJ. Gosh, probably some people wouldn't have known that I loved tennis so much in my early years and played in the 2 finals and couldn't win them.
That I didn't know. So that's something I learned today.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And the last question we just got is, what would you like people to walk away with from our yarn today?
Oh, look, we spoke a lot about the youth work stuff and some of the issues facing mob and stuff. I guess mentors. I think just have a go. I reckon just have a go, and if it doesn't work out, doesn't work out, or people are not going to judge you by that stuff. Yeah, because that's how I've had to learn to be the person I am today. I've just had to come out of my shell just a little bit and grow over time, and I'm loving sort of the place I'm in right now. All the positions I've held in my younger days have been that stepping stone to be sort of where I am right now. And I wanted to be a police officer, believe it or not, AJ. And sometimes I just think I still want to be a police officer, but yeah, like the reason why, because there was not enough Aboriginal police, Aboriginal people as coppers, and I wanted to get in there and try and help mob.
Yeah.
So who knows? That could be. I might go in as a mature age one day. But yeah, and
never give up on your dreams, man.
Absolutely. And this is the thing. When I was 18, I applied, and they told me that I needed to have more lived experience, and so that's why I wanted to get into the youth work, drug and alcohol, all those sort of related fields to have that understanding of issues and how to face challenges. So now I've done all that, I might consider that maybe. Yeah.
Go back to the police. Yeah. Well, I'm just watching the time, and I know that I have to say goodbye to you. I've known you for, I'm just trying to work out how long I've known you for, but it's been about 15 years maybe, if not a little bit more. You know how much I love you, man. And
yeah, you too, brother. I really appreciate it.
I want you to always stay safe and happy. But guys, I want to thank Jida McCartney for joining us today. Thanks, Jida. And guys, I'll see you at the next podcast. I'll see you then. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.